Hello, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Ayokunle, and today again, Ada is back again. She was here, I think, some couple of months ago, and if you haven't seen the video, please check it out. Ada is from Canada. She's also a Canadian citizen already. So she's here today to discuss universities that waive GRE. Ada, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself.
My name is Nikki, aka Ada Canada. I have a YouTube channel where I make videos about Canada generally, studying in Canada, immigration, scholarships, at like getting admission, applying to schools, vlogging. I have videos, so you can check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link to our channel in the description. Please do subscribe. So today we are going to be discussing again about universities that waive GRE. For you guys out there that don't actually know what GRE means, right? Ada is going to shed light on it and also tell us general requirements of these universities to get admission and how to go about the process. Ada, they are listening.
Okay, so GRE is Graduate Records Examination, and it's just basically an examination or like a test that people write in order to get admission to certain programs in Canada. There is also GMAT, which is Graduate Management Admissions Test. So now these two tend to go hand in hand. Now, what I will say is that a lot of universities have this GRE requirement especially for master's programs in the US. However, it's not like that in Canada. So in Canada, if you want to go for a graduate program, a master's program, you don't necessarily need GRE, GMAT, like it depending on the program that you want. And I'm going to list the program very soon. So depending on the program that you want, you don't need GRE or GMAT. So you don't have to bother about taking that exam, writing that exam, passing, getting the required marks. Now, if you are someone who wants to study an MBA, I think generally MBA, something in accounting, human resources management, business administration. If you want to go for a graduate program, especially MBA, or master's in accounting or master's in human resources management, that is where you would need GRE or GMAT requirements in Canada. For most other master's programs, you don't need it. I didn't write GRE or GMAT exam. It was not needed. If you want to do master's in engineering, you don't need GRE, GMAT. If you want to do master's in nursing, for example, you don't need GRE, GMAT. Like many of these programs, you don't need it. So when it comes to MBA or masters in human resources or accounting, right? That's when you need GRE, GMAT, and many schools will request for those results. So you'd have to take those exams. Now, be that as it may, I do have about 5 universities here on my list. Sorry, if you catch me looking down, I'm looking at my list. So I have 5 universities where there's no GRE or GMAT requirement for you to study for an MBA degree or human resources management. I feel like MBA is very broad because there are so many branches or so many specialties, I would say, under that MBA degree. So, and the universities are University Canada West. University Canada West is in British Columbia. It's a very straightforward application. You don't need GRE or GMAT in order to apply. You can come from literally just about any background. If you want to study for an MBA, I think you can apply from any background, but you don't need that exam in order to apply. There is also York University, YORK. So York University in Ontario is another school where there is no GRE or GMAT requirement, to the best of my knowledge. There's Trinity Western University in British Columbia. There is Vancouver Island University. There is Thompson Rivers University. So these 3 universities, like all of these universities that I've mentioned, except York University, they are all in the province of British Columbia, but York University is in Ontario. So these 5 schools do not have GRE and GMAT requirements. So if you're interested in an MBA or you're interested in, say, masters in accounting, or something like human resources management, but like mostly MBA, you don't
Yeah.
need GRE or GMAT, so you don't have to bother yourself with, spending all that money writing that exam. You can go ahead and apply.
Mm-hmm.
For the requirements for that program,
Yeah.
anybody can study an MBA degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can study an MBA degree. Now, with University Canada West, they don't really take into account your work experience. So if you've held a managerial position, or if you've held like a position of leadership or something like that, they don't really take it into account so much. So you can just go ahead and apply. It's
Okay.
nice to have experience though. That's what I would
Yeah.
say. It's nice to have work experience in something that is related to the MBA degree that you're
Okay.
applying for. So maybe it's a managerial position, maybe it's a position of leadership, maybe it's something in accounting, maybe it's just something where you've done something somewhere somehow that is just related to business administration. Maybe it's project management, you're a project manager or something like that. You can go for an MBA. Nice to have at least, I would say, 1 year of work experience. It does help.
Okay.
Even if you go on the site and you don't see anything that requires work experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still an advantage because MBA does tend to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
Getting admission, it does tend to be competitive, and you want to be able to beat the competition. You want to be able to stand out. You don't want to blend with the crowd. So
Yeah,
if the
that's
crowd,
a question I wanted to ask you about. How do you stand out then?
one of the ways that you can stand out is making your application strong. So, for example, if you have experience under your belt, now obviously, right, when you apply, you show them that you have experience. Maybe you also upload or submit your CV or your resume outlining your years of work experience or any kind of research that you've done, something you've done. Maybe you've managed a project before, or you've supply chain or something, just something that you've done
Yeah.
that is related
Yeah.
to that, right? It
Yeah.
can help you stand out. What did you do? Have you ever been in a position of leadership? What were your duties? What were your responsibilities? Have you ever had a project that you've managed from the beginning to the end
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
generated a project report or project evaluation, something like that, right? It really helps. Another thing that is so obvious for you to stand out, like that you need to have for you to stand out, is your grades. Now,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
GPA
Mm.
from your previous education or your
Yeah.
previous degree, in this case, undergraduate. Now, I would say generally, on average, I think the average GPA for you to get admission should be 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
3.0, that's just like baseline average, but then you want to make sure that your GPA is more than 3.0. You're not just on the benchmark, right?
Yeah.
Above that 3.0, say 3.5, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9. It's like something that really makes them notice you and be like, okay, like this person has
Hands out.
very good
Mm.
transcripts, very good results. And then when you now combine it with maybe this person has had work experience, this is what you've done, right? This is how you'll be able to stand out to the admissions team or
Mm-hmm.
however they're processing your results. There are some cases that are, like I call these cases outliers. There are some cases where people will have a GPA of 3.1, 3.2. Maybe they'll have a GPA of 3.0 on the dot, right? And you would think, or even they would think, that they wouldn't get admission. But
Yeah.
it turns out that they will get admission because
Yeah.
they have something else to
Yeah.
supplement for
Yeah.
it,
They
right?
supplement from
Your
other
work
areas.
experience
Yeah.
would kind of cover that, right?
Mm.
So these are just outliers. And for those of you that might be wondering, I don't really know how they do the calculation, because like if you're coming from a country where the GPA is not on a 4.0 scale,
Yeah.
obviously they'll do their calculation,
Mm.
right? I personally, I don't know how they calculate GP to how they will convert it to
To
Canadian
translate
standard.
it
I'm
to their
just
own. Yeah.
mentioning the GP based on Canadian
Yeah.
standards,
And
right?
yeah. Yeah.
So if I were to convert it to, say, a country like Nigeria, let's use Nigeria for example, because I'm assuming a lot of your subscribers are
Yeah.
Nigerians.
Yeah.
So if we were to convert it, let's just say 2-1, right? Having a 2-1 and you want to go for an MBA, it's possible you can get admission. If you have first class, great. Having a 2-1, if you have a 2-2, it's still possible to get admission. But if you have something stronger to like add to that degree,
improve your chance.
work experience, or if there's anything you've done that just like really you've handled well, being in a position of leadership. Now, of course, I always say volunteering, because in this part of the world, right, when you're applying for something, like if you tell them you volunteered or you did community service, you worked with a non-governmental organization, you did this, you did that, it's another bonus.
Yeah,
It's another bonus.
A strong signal to them that you're passionate
Yes,
about
now
that.
it sends a strong signal that you're not just all about books, right? See, of course, obviously, right? It's all about books, education, but like they want to see some other aspects to you. There's another side to you. What else are you involved in, or is it just work, 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 school, school, school? Like, what else are you doing, right? They would try to gauge your personality basically from your application, even though they haven't seen you. So these are some of the ways to stand out, and then in some cases, I don't know if all these 5 universities.
Reference letter from maybe your previous university, your dean, your HOD, whatever.
Yes, a reference letter is an added bonus. I was actually going to come to that, but if you, of course, definitely you will need reference letter from maybe the dean of your faculty in your previous school, or the head of department in your previous school, someone then it's nice to have at least. So if you look at the requirements and they are telling you they need 2 references, at least one of them has to be an academic reference. The other one can be reference from work, somebody that knows you well and that can vouch for you. At least we'll let one person be an academic reference. If it's 3 references, 2 of them should be academic, and then the other one should come from work, any kind of work, or somebody that just knows you in your capacity that can vouch for you. No, I was just going to talk about writing an essay, like a statement. I don't know if all these 5 schools will require you to like write an essay about like write a personal statement. But if you're going to if you encounter any one of these schools that is requiring to write a personal statement, it's another great way to stand out, where you can talk about the research that you've done, talk about the market, right? Talk about your position, right? If you've managed a business, if you're running a business, or you've done something, right, that is very, very substantial, you describe it, your responsibilities, how did you achieve that? Just relate it to that degree, which is the MBA that you want to get, right? And then try to make it stand out. Highest 2 pages, so between 1 to 2 pages, right? I don't recommend going over 2 pages for that, just because the people who are reviewing admissions, they are human beings and they have thousands of admissions.
So many.
Most times, like, people don't have time to sit down and be spending hours reading one person's personal statement, right? So usually I always advise, if you don't see any page limit in the requirements, just make it 1 to 2 pages. Let it not cross 2 pages.
Size and quality, So, among all these requirements, right, which one do you consider non-negotiable? That, like, for example, if you must rate it higher, like, okay, this one, you must have this. You understand? I know you spoke about, even if you have low CGPA, you can still compensate in other areas. But among all these requirements, which one do you rank highest, like in particular order? Like, which one is more important? Is it your grade or the personal student? Which one do you rank most significantly?
Okay, so for me, this is my opinion, right? And it could be different from your opinion. It could be different from the opinion of the admissions team. I don't work in any of these schools. I don't work for them. I don't have any business. So I don't know what they are using as their criteria. But I do know that for MBA degree, right, and whatever is related to MBA, executive MBA, leadership MBA, whatever it is that has MBA degree, and all the other specialties that are under MBA, right, work experience. I would say work experience. Work experience is something that, now I'm saying, if you don't have work experience and you want to go for MBA, It's,
Question mark,
you
right?
know, if you get admission, you're very lucky. But I would say work experience is very, very crucial to your application for
Okay.
an MBA.
Even more than CGPA from previous degrees, right?
Well, your CGPA is very important,
Yeah.
right? And you have to meet the requirements. So if they say minimum CGPA 3.0, your
This
CGPA
month.
must be 3.0,
Yeah.
and above. It
Above,
must be.
yeah.
So that one is there. That one is a given, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that something that can really amplify you is
And
having
push the
relevant work
chance. Yeah.
experience.
Then, how long do you think it's going to take to complete the admission process?
Yes, it does depend on the individual. If you have all your documents ready, if you have, like, say, for example, a copy of your transcript, a copy of your degree certificate, and all those other things, right? You can apply within 30 minutes to 1 hour,
Okay.
2 hours. You can actually sit down, like if you're very committed, you can sit down, fill out an application, and then just send it, right? The admissions process, it takes time, but I would say generally within Canada, 1 month to anywhere from 4 months is how long it will take for them to make an admission decision. Anywhere from 1 month to 4 months to make an
Almost.
admission decision. MBA is usually 1 year, yeah, it's usually about 1 to 2 years, depending on
Really?
the school.
Good start.
Yes, it's about
Wow.
1 to 2 years, depending on the school.
What's the period of year when someone can apply?
Now,
Right
we're
now,
in
right?
November.
Yeah.
Now, so one thing there is, like, for University Canada West, they have about 3 or 4 intakes, I believe. They have October, I think they have January, and I think they have May. I think it's about 3 intakes in a year, I
Okay.
think. So if you are interested in a school like University Canada West, now they do have scholarships. They do have quite a number of scholarships for international students. So if you're interested in any one of these schools, now is the best time to apply. This is application season.
Okay.
Application season started since September, in fact, since October. So if you want to apply for any program and you want to to study in Canada next year, you should be applying now,
Right
because
now.
visa processing is another ball game on its own. Like, it takes time. So
That
you
take
should be
about
applying.
a couple of months as well, like 6 months plus, right? For visa.
Sorry, for
Visa
visa.
process takes longer, right?
6 months? I don't think so. I think about 2, 3, 4 months.
Oh,
Two,
okay.
three, 4 months.
Mm,
Two, 2, 3, 4 months it takes. So, however, if, for example, if you want to study, if you're applying for an MBA and you want to study in Canada in January, right? If
mm,
you're applying now, I wouldn't advise you to choose a January intake. Why? Because of visa. So even if you get admission, right?
mhm.
What is the probability or possibility that you will get the visa before January? So
Mm,
if you want to study in Canada, I would say start from, like, if you see a spring intake. Spring is May. So if you see an intake for May, you can choose that intake in your application and then start applying for that. Or if you don't see any intake, then just go for September or October, whatever the
okay.
start date is, because that gives you a lot more time to prepare everything
Mm,
that you
yeah.
need
Yeah.
for the study visa.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And what other any final word?
Any final word? And just don't give in to any kind of procrastination. If you know this is something you want, just go ahead
Yeah,
and just
go for it. Yeah.
apply for it. Make sure you put in all your documents. If you can't apply because you're pursuing transcripts, then just pursue the transcript, see it through to the very end. So I'll just encourage you to just take that chance. If it's what
Yeah.
you want to come and study, take that chance and then apply to at least minimum of one school. If you can afford more than one school, then go ahead and apply.
All right. Thank you very much, Ada. And guys, please click the like button and also subscribe to Ada's channel, Ada Canada. I'll put the link in the description. And again, please click the like button and subscribe if you're new. I will see you guys again the next time. Peace.
Okay, see you.